Hello, you guys. It has been a fat minute. I am about to start Punk Hazard. I am quite literally on chapter 655 that says Punk Hazard. And I thought we would start Punk Hazard together. I haven't done a live read in a minute, so I thought I would do this. And listen, I need to clarify a couple things really quickly. Number one, listen, I have the footage of me reacting to fan letter, but my screen recording of the actual episode went wrong, and I've just been stumped on how I want to proceed with it. I may end up just doing kind of like a talking review about it and then insert kind of my reaction to the very end. I didn't like I was not an emotional mess. It's hard for me, I think, to get emotional knowing that I'm recorded. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I'm a little torn about it. I do have it. Just give me a little time. And also, I did not address this, but I did, but I think a few of you were confused. The panel at the end of Fishman Island with Jinbei giving Luffy a blood transfusion, I think that that legitimately is my new favorite panel in the entire manga. I love what it stands for. I love what it represents. I thought it was such a beautiful and wonderfully orchestrated moment. I'm sorry I did not talk about it more. I talked about it at the end of my video begging people to reread it in the manga, but I was trying to keep it non-spoiler, so I didn't reference it directly. But I love that panel. I love that panel. I love Jinbei. I love Fishman Island. I will die on that hill. But anyway, I've had again more health stuff. It's really obnoxious. I'm trying to pace myself in the best way that I can. I appreciate you guys being patient between updates, but just know that if things get a little sporadic, I may have some procedures and tests coming up. um, my health and my family come first before One Piece and reading. So just bear with me if I get a little absent. I'm still very much enjoying the story. I just have to pace myself with it. So, enough yapping. Punk Hazard chapter 655. Let's go. Okay, so there is a volcano erupting. Of course, Luffy wants to get off. Maybe it's just because Luffy is like so confident now and like his strength. I'm just surprised that he would still be so eager to like immediately go to the most dangerous thing after the events of, losing his crew and Marineford and everything. I don't know. What do you guys think? I would think that he would want to be more cautious. So all the fish they caught are burned to a crisp. Oh, okay, so someone's putting out an SOS. Robin says, "Stop Luffy, the majority of emergency alerts can't be trusted." Yeah, that makes sense. Zoro says, "Samurai, huh? Sounds familiar, Brooke." Indeed, Samurai is the title of the swordsman from the land of Wano. Wano is a nation with closed borders. No outsiders are allowed within. They aren't even affiliated with the world government. And these samurai are so powerful that even the navy does not dare to breach their territory. That's crazy. Yeah, but he didn't say anything about Wano. He said Punk Hazard. Is that how you say it? Wano? Or is it Wano? Wano sounds more correct. Wow, so they are just charging into the island of fire then. Okay, so there's Smoker. Dude, I'm honestly so happy to see Smoker again. I actually really like. How do you guys feel about Smoker? I really enjoy him as a character. Obviously, I don't like that he's trying to capture Luffy, but I don't know. The whole bit with them in Lugtown and Alabasta was just really funny. There are three places the needles indicate after Fishman Island: Risky Red Island, Rasian Island, and Mystoria Island. So, okay, so then he ignores all of them and goes to Punk Hazard. Interesting. Interesting. So there was some incident where it was closed off and it's supposedly abandoned, but clearly if they got a transpondent communication, that's not the truth. There's got to be someone there. Who drew the short straws? We did. Usopp goes, I'll trade with someone, anyone. And Robin just goes, this should be exciting. Oh, that's cool. Nami can make cloud roads now. Usopp's still begging someone to switch with him. I fear I would literally be Usopp. Exactly. I would absolutely be Usopp. I love how he is like the only normal person. Zoro and Luffy are already eating their lunches. Golly, this island is crazy. There's like a whole entrance. The insignia of both the world government and the navy, meaning that if anyone was here, they'd be government employees. Huh, so they see something. Luffy says, do those actually exist? Zoro says, no, I thought they were imaginary, they can't be real. And Robin says, but it's clear to me that can only be one thing. A dragon? Dang, I wasn't expecting a dragon. Ooh, that's cool. Alright. Chapter 656. Chapter 656. Adventure on the Burning Island. I love the cover stories, by the way, the decks of the world, how you go to each island and see how everyone's doing. I love those so much. I loved seeing Shushu. He had his new like grand opening pet store. It was so cute. I just love seeing everyone doing well. So this says Decks of the World, Volume 38, Water 7, the second sea train is complete. That's awesome. Alright, back to the dragon. Ooh, it straight up just started breathing fire. Zoro says, now this is more like it. Luffy's just laughing. Luffy just punched it, and it didn't do much. It just hit him with his tail. Dang, it just blocked his swords with its teeth. It said something about the warlords. I wonder if it's got some score to settle with them. Maybe they can be enemies of the government together. If anybody could tame and make a dragon friend, it would be Luffy. Nice. I love Zoro's fighting style. It's so cool. Death Lion Song. He's talking about eating the dragon, dude. Okay, on the Thousand Sunny, southwest of the island. Oh man, everyone's passed out asleep. Who are these guys? 2 humans, 1 humanoid, metal man, and 1 pet. Tie them all up. They're pirates. This is perfect. We shall offer them to master. No one's going to raise a fuss over a few pirates gone missing. Interesting. Who is the master here? There's, okay, there's just a pair of talking legs. Oh man, alright. Volume 67 is next. Love it. Chapter 657. Severed Head. Very nice. What was our, let's see. Decks of the World, Volume 39. Gourmet Town, Poochie. For ship buying, repairs, and dismantling. See the Zambai Union. Is like Poochie meant to be like a spin-off name for Lucci? Alright. Oh wow, so there's snowy peaks here. There's a giant lake, and across from it, the other side of the island, is a mountain range of ice. That's interesting. So the killer samurai and his victims are on that side of the island. What the? Who is this? So it was a bird lady. The rest of the crew has woken up and they've been captured. Interesting. So they don't know where Brook is. Maybe they thought he was dead. I am no lowly insect, and I see that you are not wicked of heart. These pieces you see here make up my face. Would you do me the service of assembling them? Dude, he looks like Buggy when he's all chopped apart. They're trying to assemble his face. I was cut down to this size, and I know not the name of the one responsible. I thought myself dead, but then this happened. It is the shame of a warrior to be defeated in combat and left alive to tell the tale. I would commit seppuku to end this sorry spectacle if I could, but even in my shame, there is a dire matter to address first. How weird, it's like Buggy. Women are to be graceful, mind their tongues, and speak when they are spoken to. Yikes. Nami goes, well, that's an awfully cheeky way for a wretched little head to speak, especially to the people who put his face together. I love Nami, dude. Well, I don't really like this random head here. He says, I hate pirates with a passion so strong I could vomit, so I'm gonna go on a limb and say that I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that the guys who did this to him are pirates. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Isn't that Law's power? Because he was doing that at the archipelago. He was like cutting off people's heads and limbs and they were alive. Is this Law's island? Ooh, okay. I gotta keep reading to find out. That would be so cool if it was. Frankie just destroyed their jail cell. Interesting. Hanji fixed his hair and his beard. He says that guy's a samurai. This top knot here is the traditional hairstyle of Wano. Then the killer samurai that guy was talking about is him. Interesting. The only reason we're in this mess in the first place is because we got a distress call from the guys you were dicing up. I do not commit cold-blooded murder. I do nothing to disgrace myself. I came to this island to save my son's life, and I would cut down thousands if they dared stand between me and my goal. His son. Holy cow. They're like giant kids. Tons of them. Hello, we are chugging right along with One Piece and Punk Hazard. I am on chapter 658. Half of the crew is they just fought a dragon and then they just found like the snowy part of the island, and then the other part of the crew just met this beheaded samurai dude who was chopped up into pieces but still alive. And when they broke out of their cell, they ran into this huge room with a bunch of giant kids. So, a lot going on so far. So, we will see where this goes. Chapter 658, The Biscuits Room. Samurai Head says, do you know of a young boy named Momonosuke? And then it scared all the kids. One of the kids said, save us, please. Please, lady, save us. We're not sick anymore. Everyone's all better. Chopper says, sick? Sick with what? Another kid says, I just want to go home. Please help us. Nami says, sorry, sweetie, we're on the run. Then come back and save us later. We've never been outside, but we can guess. This island doesn't have any towns or anything, does it? No one's coming to save us. I want to see my mommy and daddy. Come back for us. Save us when you can, bro. Well, now they can't leave. Nami says, let's save the children. I love Nami. This girl, I swear, post time skip. I mean, I have always loved her, but she is like already, I feel like climbing up the ranks. I feel like she's always been bold and confident, but I don't know. I really feel like the time skip out of all the characters, I'm really feeling like Nami has benefited almost the most out of the time there. I mean, Luffy physically, of course. I mean, everyone's got power-ups, but I don't know. There's just this really Nami's always had a quiet sense of like maturity and knowing and empathy. But I feel like she's just been more confident and comfortable. I just really love to see it in here, and I think too upgrading her powers in the way that she did, She's just very much, I feel like she went from a young girl and now she is very much a young slash grown woman. It's just really cool. I love to see it in her. We just met them seconds ago. We don't know their story, and we're not running a rescue charity. Nami says, I know, you're right, Sanji, but these children, these are children crying to us for help. How can we possibly turn their backs on them? Heck yes, Nami. I love it. And Frankie, heck yes, dude. Save the kids. Is Master here? Yes, I am. There's a G5 battleship on the shore. A battleship. Drive them away, whatever it takes. Use the poison gas if you must. Killing naval men is only going to put them on our trail, and that's the last thing I need. He looks like he's what made of liquid? Well, there goes my theory about Law. I mean, I guess Law could still be with him, but I don't recognize any of these people that were with him. Above Punk Hazard, oh, here's this bird lady. Okay, so Brooke's talking to them. So the centaur guy just started attacking them. A leopard and a giraffe. That's a little. Does Oda have a thing for leopards and giraffes, I guess? Okay, so now we're with Smoker's crew. We can't do it, Vice Admiral Smoker. The gas is everywhere. When stupid Vegapunk's chemical weapons experiment failed 4 years ago, it rendered the whole island uninhabitable. Holy crap! 2 years ago, this was just a barren island, no fire, no ice. Surprisingly, the area was no longer toxic, which is exactly why Akainu and Aokiji chose Punk Hazard to be their dueling ground. The location of a battle fierce enough to change the entire climate of the island? Dude, I'm gonna need an anime episode that goes into that fight between them. That's insane, dude. I was not expecting that at all. That's crazy. Oh my gosh, that's wild, dude. I'm still not over the fact that Akainu won that, by the way. In case you think I'm over that. Absolutely not. Oh, that's cool. Usopp just happened to have a boat bomb. His power is so creative. Like, I'm so impressed that Oda managed to develop his powers the way that he did on the island that he was on. It's really, really cool. To the land of shaved ice. Oh, it's the centaur is throwing boulders at him. Luffy goes, "What's up? Do you want to join my crew after all?" Zoro goes, "Are you recruiting again?" And Usopp says, "Stop trying to sign up every freak we meet." Okay, so the dude yelled, "Boss, the intruders are coming to your side." Oh, Lord? Is that the boss? He's huge! That's quite the collection. So that SOS we received was meant for that guy. In that case, they shouldn't be hostile to us for trying to help. One of them has a katana. He must be the samurai who cut down our kind. Uh-oh. Inside Dr. Vegapunk's former laboratory on the icy side. Ah! Oh my gosh! It is Law, dude! Yes! World government recognized pirate warlord of the sea, Trafalgar Law, former bounty 400 and 40 million berries. He's a warlord now? I'm shocked that they would make him a warlord after he helped Luffy escape. Dude, I'm so excited. I love Law. His character design is so cool. He says, "This is my mansion now. What do you want?" Let's get out of here, Smoker. I don't want anything to do with this guy. He's a madman. In order to become a warlord, he sent 100 pirate hearts back to headquarters. Yikes, this guy's a freak. This island is off limits law that includes government men. He goes, then it applies to you too. Oh my gosh, that's the end of the chapter. You guys, Law is quickly climbing the ranks of like one of my favorite One Piece characters of all time. We really haven't seen that much of him, but I swear every time this dude is on the page, it's just like he commands all of the attention. Like he is that guy. He is so cool. I'm convinced his middle name is cool. He's insane. So he made the big sphere and stuff again, and basically Smoker explains that that's like his operating room, and he can essentially like control, extract, rearrange anything that he wants to. Like he's almost invincible when he has this sphere activated. He turned Smoker's ship like completely upside down. He's crazy. So for whatever reason, he says this is his vacation home, and I don't think that's the case, but I'm very curious to see, like, there's a bunch of different parties involved here. So there's like the group of centaurs, and then there's the group with the kids, and then their like master or whoever, and then there's Law that's here, but I haven't seen anyone else from Law's crew, so I really don't know what's going on. But we do know that Law is a warlord officially. But yeah, he is freaking crazy. And so he just struck Tashigi in half, and she's like, don't do this to me, like it's so dishonorable, like if you're gonna kill me, just kill me. And he's like, the weak don't have the right to choose how they die. I'm sorry, guys. It's that's a terrible thing to say, but I mean, it's kind of true. And B, he's so cool saying it. Like, he's so cool, but he's kind of giving villain vibes, and I'm like, I feel like we can be friends. I feel like the Straw Hats and Law can be friends, but he's not being very friendly. Also, that saying, the weak don't have the right to choose how they die, that is so something that Doflamingo would say. Isn't that like, that's like his whole thing. And then again, he's still got this like the smiley face that's very similar to Doflamingo's, except Doflamingo's has the cross through it. So I don't know. I don't know what this means, but I want to find out. I'm really hoping that we get to find out more about Law now. So I'm loving this arc. I think he's gonna fight with Smoker, so I will check in after I read that battle. So stay tuned. Okay, I just finished chapter 663, and wow, okay, more information. I want to say, first of all, this arc is a freaking trip. Like, there is like serious concerning stuff at one second, and then like really cool stuff the next second, and then just like pure crack Oda humor the next. Like, I have such incredible whiplash. Law and Smoker start fighting, and it's a really good fight, honestly, but then again, Law's so cool, dude. He said something about like, sometimes you need to change your perspective, otherwise you're never gonna see the right thing, or something cool like that. And he basically ducks below this like tree trunk, and he pops out Smoker's heart into like a little cube. Crazy. I guess it's the same way that he delivered the 1,000, was it 1,000 or 100 pirate hearts to the government. Absolutely wild. We also see the bird angel lady. Her name is Monet. And then right about the time that he defeated Smoker, Luffy pops up. And Luffy's like, oh, hey, it's that guy that saved my life. Hey, thank you. And he's like, what's his name again? And he starts calling him Traffy. Which I will say too, Trafalgar Law is quite possibly the coolest name that we have come across, in my opinion, so far. I told you guys, I'm becoming like a Law super fan now. Law was like, I was acting on a whim, you don't need to, you're not indebted to me in any way, like, we're both pirates. And of course Luffy doesn't listen. He's like, oh, he's just like Jinbei, I owe a ton of people thanks for my life. And then he calls Smoker Smokey. He's like, oh, hey Smokey, how are you doing? I just adore him. He's such a little peanut. He's just so happy all the time. And again, after Marineford and everything, I'm just happy to see him happy, you know? Law said I'm trying to get something back as well, which is interesting. So Luffy then reunites, the crew fully reunites, and Law had rearranged Frankie, Chopper, Nami, and Sanji into different bodies. So of course Sanji ended up in Nami's, and I will say, of all the Sanji humor, like, I wasn't personally really bothered at all by his behavior in Fishman Island. This one is irking me a little bit, but it was very satisfying, at least, to see Nami, like, drawing up all of the berries that he's gonna owe her for his behavior. So that at least was satisfying. And then Usopp and Luffy are like howling. They think it's absolutely hysterical. Also, Samurai Head earned some points back from me because he has the ability to create disguises, essentially. So he had everybody put like a rock on their head, and he was able to give everybody winter clothes, including the children, because they were very cold. So anything that helps the kids out is going to earn points for me. But then he said too that he didn't suggest it sooner because he didn't want to cover up Nami, and I was like, why do we do this? Tashigi now put her heart, I think, inside of Smoker, so she's essentially like inside of his body. So she's like, if the initials are CC, that can only mean one thing. It's probably the guy who worked with Dr. Vegapunk. His name is Caesar Clown. Do we have a thing for clowns too? So now I'm like wondering if like they're brothers or any way, or like related in any way to Buggy. So we now know, assumably, the main antagonist, which is going to be Caesar Clown. Law, we got to figure out what his motivations are. And then the crew, I assume, I mean, now that Luffy's there is no way that Luffy isn't going to make it his personal mission to rescue and get all these kids back to where they need to be. And then if Law needs something, naturally Luffy is like, oh, you saved my life, I'm going to help you out in whatever way I can. Oda is creating his web as he usually does. We are getting the bits and pieces, and it's slowly coming together. So I'm excited to see what's going to become of this. But that's the update for today, and I will see you in the next update. Hello. I have finished chapter 664, and we finally got some good lore. So let's talk about it. So Tashigi and Smoker are currently in switched bodies thanks to Law, and they're talking about Tashigi brought up the fact that the area had a lot of child abductions, but they were getting covered up. She noticed that G5 would get the reports, but then by the time like they made it into anything official, they had been changed into like shipwrecks or other accidents, so nothing would come of it. So they suspect that there's a mole in G5 or in the government allowing this to get covered up for some reason. So after that, it cuts to Caesar Clown, and he gives the go-ahead to try to get rid of the Straw Hat Pirates, obviously. And then he's like, we can contact Joker to do another cover-up, like all the other cover-ups. Okay, what? I'm just gonna say, okay? I'm just gonna say, there is a character who I said is like the Joker. So hear me out. What if Joker is Doflamingo? It makes sense. It makes sense. Because he has the creepy, maniacal laughter, and he seems exactly like the kind of crazy sociopath that would abduct children and then cover it up. I'm just saying. Or not him specifically, but like if he was behind it or like aiding it in some way.
I don't like him. I do, but I'm so terrified of him. So that's my guess. So, like, what if Doflamingo is the big boss? And there's also the link between him and Law. So I think that the mole, or at least, like, the one funding this in a way, is Doflamingo. We will see. So then we go to the crew, where we find out that the big centaur guy is Brownbeard, which totally makes sense. I completely forgot that Brownbeard existed post Marineford. But basically, he was ranting about the new generation that Luffy is a part of, where it's like they're kind of in between Roger's age and then like the new age of pirates. And they've got all the supernovas, so like Law and Kid, Drake, Hawkins, all of those. And he's saying that they're like wreaking havoc on the new world, and Hawkins was responsible for Brownbeard losing his legs and like getting separated from his crew. So they kind of made their way to the island. He was talking about the island and how Vegapunk would host his like cruel experiments there on like people who were supposed to be in jail, but then the experiment went wrong and something exploded. The island flooded with gas. But then people who made their way back to the island ran into Master, aka Caesar Clown, and he essentially like gave them this haven and this new lease on life and was like saving all these people. So now they're very like loyal and allegiant to Caesar Clown. Then Law came in as well and was able to give him and his crew new legs and things like that. So they're also very, very loyal to Law. So then we see Tashigi talking again, and it's revealed that the experiment came from Caesar Clown, but Vegapunk, because he was in charge, took the fall for it, and Caesar Clown was able to escape due to his gas fruit ability. If he's back now on the island trying to create an even worse weapon, they have to get him and apprehend him immediately, because he's not a great guy. Who would have guessed? I mean, I'm just saying, if a dude like Caesar Clown popped up, first of all, there's his name, Caesar Clown, okay? I don't Clowns and I don't get along. I mean, Buggy's funny, but just saying. And then he looks creepy. He can't be good news, okay? It's kind of oddly feeling like Thriller Bark a little bit, like with the shadows and the experiments with Dr. Hogback. So that was a beefy chapter with some good lore. So I will do another update when I read. I'm gonna read another chapter today. I'll check in. Okay, I'm banking on Tashigi and Smoker to release the files on Punk Hazard at this point, because what is going on? I think one of you said that this was like the Jeffrey Epstein Island of One Piece, and I fear they are very correct, because this is getting more messed up by the second. So we find out that the children they were drugged, essentially. So they were given candy with this stimulant in it, and it's addictive. And Chopper, bless him, he was so angry when he found out that that's what they were doing. He's like, I feel like Chopper's medical abilities aren't showcased as well as they could be. Like, Drum Island was such a good focus around it, and I feel like he's getting a great highlight moment here post time skip. But you can just really see his care and his anger that a stimulant is being used in this way against children, when it's supposed to be something to help people. And it's also why these kids are all so big. So they're starting to go into active withdrawal, and they get really, really, really angry, and they're strong, okay? Let me tell you from personal experience, kids are strong, okay? They have this unnatural, superhuman strength in their tiny fists, but now they're large due to this stimulant. So Usopp, bless him, puts them to sleep with one of his sleep stars, and they tie up the big kids just so that they can't harm themselves or anybody else. And Chopper's really, really angry at this so-called master that did this to the kids. We see Caesar Clown talking to Law, and they're kind of forming. I thought that they were kind of already in an active partnership, but I don't necessarily think that they each knew that they were there. Either that, or like they're still on a very, very shaky alliance. Law doesn't want anybody knowing that he's on Punk Hazard. And he said, too, specifically Joker. He's like, do not tell Joker that I'm here. Which is very, again, if my theory stands that Joker is Doflamingo, I just wonder if Doflamingo has something of Law's that he is trying to get back, or I have no idea if he's blackmailing Law somehow or has some kind of control over him. But Caesar Clown was surprised to hear that Law knew the code name for Joker, and they're kind of like hesitant because Law is very intelligent and powerful, but they're basically like, okay, just Law's like, let me know what you need from me, and then just let me go where I want to go. So Caesar Clown begrudgingly lets him go because he is a powerful ally to have. And then we also see these people called the Yeti Brothers set out by Caesar Clown to the Straw Hats. And we see that they've downed Zoro, Sanji, and Frankie. Oh, also funny moment when Chopper is talking, but it's Frankie. So Frankie's talking in Chopper's body, and Robin gets so upset and disturbed by the faces that Frankie's making. She's just so funny. Like, it could be some like cataclysmic bad event, and then Robin is like not unbothered, but she just comes in with her sense of humor, and it's so funny. I think it's just because the poor girl's been through so much that she's like basically calm in any situation now. But then, listen, I don't like Brownbeard. He's kind of annoying and forgettable. But the Yeti guys straight up are like, oh yeah, the master told us to get rid of you too. And Brownbeard was really, really upset, and they play like the playback for Caesar Clown when he gives the order to exterminate him too. And it's pretty sad, and they like literally go to town on this guy. And then Luffy comes up. They saw that the other ones were in trouble, so they turn around, and he's really, really mad, and he's like, you better not have touched my crew. Luffy, too, after Chopper discovered about the stimulants, he was like, Luffy, please, let's get these children home. They were abducted. And Luffy's like, yeah, okay, let's get them home. Which I knew he would be. So I love that the crew is pretty much on the same page now. We gotta figure out what Law is up to. Caesar Clown sucks, dude. He is like, I feel like it's been a minute since we've had like a good villain. Like, I just feel like it's been a minute. Because listen, I can appreciate the kind of villain that Hody was, but he was still very annoying, even though it was intentional. But I could like appreciate what he gave. But like, Vanderdecken was so bad. He was so bad. And I really don't like Caesar Clown either. Like, again, he's kind of giving the Thriller Bark villains, and if you guys have followed my journey in any capacity, you know I don't like the Thriller Bark villains. So I don't know, I need a good villain, you guys. And like, Akainu just made me so angry. Like, it wasn't one that I was like, you know, like, oh, I can begrudgingly like you. Like, no, I just straight up hate him. So I think I'm trying to think legitimately of like the last villain that I could like begrudgingly like. I mean, Crocodile, sure, but like he was in alliance with us, and you know what? It was freaking Doflamingo in Marineford. I think he was the last one that I was like, okay, I like this villain, even though he's freaky. But I don't know when we're gonna see Doflamingo. Maybe the next arc? I don't look at the arcs ahead. Like, I want it to be a surprise until I'm like at the end of the current arc that I'm at. So I don't know when we're gonna. I'm assuming we'll see Doflamingo close. If my theory is right, then he's Joker. But I'm like, please, I need a good villain, because Caesar Clown sucks. He looks like creepy Orochimaru. I don't like him, and he's drugging children. Like, there's nothing redeemable about this. I need like a good, psychologically complex villain that like makes you begrudgingly kind of like them even if they're terrible. Like Anel. Anel, perfect example. Okay, rant over. That's my update for today. I'll try to get both of these updated and up today. We'll see. But yeah, love you guys. See you in the next update.
Hello, I have an update. So if you haven't read Punk Hazard, then scroll because there will be spoilers. I was not expecting an alliance between Law and the Straw Hats to form this quickly. I said that as in like a future thing. I thought that we'd have some stuff to beef out, but no, we are connecting instantly, but I am not complaining. So Luffy went to go rescue Nami Frankie because Caesar Clown really wants Frankie's laser technology. So while Luffy went to go and rescue Nami and Frankie's body, he also runs into Law, and Law says, "You don't really strike me as a guy who doesn't want to be like in the lead and in charge." And Luffy's like, "That's right, I'm going to be a captain. I'm going to stay a captain." And Law goes, "Okay, well, how would you feel about forming an alliance with me? Because I have a plan to take down one of the four emperors." So I'm like, okay, which one? I obviously don't think it's going to be Shanks. I feel like it's not going to be Kaido either. Because I feel like we just don't know much about Kaido, and Kaido seems really powerful. Oh, like, none of them. Like, it doesn't seem like we're ready for any of them. But I mean, Law is powerful. So if they have an alliance together, then maybe. I mean, if we're going from the events of Fishman Island, then I would guess Big Mom. I feel like it's too early to take Blackbeard out of the game as well. So my guess is Big Mom. That's, again, especially because we were just introduced to her. So that's my guess. So Luffy takes Law back to the rest of the crew, and he's like, obviously, I'm gonna do the alliance. And everyone's like, are you nuts? Like, not only can we not trust Law because he's freaky and powerful, but he's, he's a pirate, so he could backstab you, and we're like not ready. Like, we're just not ready to be facing emperors yet. Like, we just got to the new world, and obviously Luffy's like, "Oh, I don't care." And he's like, "I've got my crew and 2 years of training and Law." Like, he's like, we've got everything we need. And Robin was so cute because everyone else was like very adamantly not feeling it. And then Robin's like, "Okay, like I'll go with you as a captain's orders, but like just be careful because you're very trusting and like I don't want you to get backstabbed by someone like Law." She's so cute. She's so the big sister. Like, oh, I just adore her and Luffy's relationship. I love how she never like discourages him or like tells him no, but she's always there to like kind of quietly offer her reassurance or advice, especially like when he asks for it. It's just very endearing to me, and I love Robin. Then Law talks about the giant kids and offers some insight into that. And he said that it's been like a government project for centuries, and that they're aiming at creating like these giant super soldiers essentially because, of course, the government would want bioengineered, morphed super soldiers to do their bidding. And they have no problem kidnapping children and burying that. It's hitting very close to home, okay? This is a rough one. You guys, this was so funny. So Luffy's like, okay, so, well, we're gonna rescue all the children and make sure they're okay. And then Sanji also wanted to see that samurai guy put back together. So, since we're an alliance, you have to help us out, right? And you guys, the look on Law's face as he realizes, like, what the hell he's just gotten himself into, it is so funny. Like, he's so clearly used to being like feared and in charge, and like nobody wants to overstep him. And like now he's just with the Straw Hats who are so unserious 95% of the time. It's it is so funny. It's so comical. So then he's like, okay, whatever, fine. Like, you go find whoever. I'm gonna go find more information about what they've been drugging the kids with. So Chopper's like, oh, I want to go. And but he can't move yet because he's still like all exhausted from Frankie using the rumble ball. So they tie him onto Law's hat, and again he's got the same expression on his face, and the straw hats are all like howling with laughter. It's so funny. It is so funny. So then Luffy is talking about who all knows hockey, and he says that it's himself, Zoro, Sanji, and Law, obviously. I'm gonna assume that Law has all three forms of hockey like Luffy does. Is that the truth? Am I supposed to know that? I mean, at the very least, I would think that he's got the observation hockey and the armaments hockey. Law does. And then Luffy obviously has all three. Zoro has armament hockey, clearly, from his sword. And then what is was it like explicitly said that Sanji knows hockey now? I think I remember it from when he was on the Kamabaka Island that he was using it, and I know that he has observation. It must be observation hockey. Does he have armament hockey too? If I'm not supposed to know, don't spoil it, but I just like when it comes to like hockey with other people, I get like I don't know if it's ever like explicitly said. Um So yeah, let me know if that was said or not, or if I'll like find out more specifically at a later date. Okay, I lied. I read one more chapter and I went back and I listened to Caesar Clown's laugh. What is it with Oda and these weird laughs, dude? Oh, I I don't really have any words. That's terrible. That is a terrible, annoying laugh. Does somebody have a worse laugh than that? That's terrible. And there was that weird dude with the zipper mouth in Ennie's lobby. Didn't he laugh? It was like choppa choppa. Who's got the worst laugh? If I haven't discovered yet, then don't tell me. But like Caesar Clowns is pretty rough. I legitimately don't. I, it's so bad. So anyway, I read one more chapter. Brook, Zoro, and Sanji are trying to find the samurai guy, and they end up finding him, and he's frozen solid. And he says that he can tell that his torso was thrown in a body of water, and there's a lake. So they're gonna go look around the lake, but the samurai guy can't find it because he can't swim because he's a devil fruit user. But he's actually very thankful to the pirates, and Sanji's like, "Well, I challenge you to a duel." After you get your body back. And the samurai is very, very thankful. So then we cut back to Law, and he's got Chopper in this little bag at the end of his sword, and it's so cute. And Chopper's like, "Wow, your powers are so cool. Did we just warp?" He's like asking a ton of questions, and Law is just like, "Be quiet. You can look at the drug while I go and um distract Caesar Clown or whatever." Law needs the Straw Hats to kidnap Caesar Clown for the rest of the plan to proceed. So Luffy just straight up like lands right in the middle of all the fighting with Caesar Clown and like the Navy and everything. And he's like, "Hey, Caesar Clown, I'm here to kidnap you." And Law's like, "Who told that idiot to fight everybody here?" And yeah, and then Caesar Clown said that the like weapon that destroyed the island the last time was this same slime, and now he's just released it again. So we got to figure out how we're gonna take care of that as well. So things are heating up. I am loving this arc, so I will check in later. Who is this condescending piece of garbage? Who is he? Virgo? Oh, you guys. Oh, you guys. If this is like a taste of what is going to come, I don't know if I am both like excited and horrified because this is exactly the kind of like psychological rage bait that I need in a villain. You guys were talking about what I was talking about with a villain, and this is what I mean. Oh my gosh, this one interaction is both so terrifying and so incredibly frustrating. So we see the guy that Law was scared and angry about. His name is Virgo, and he basically was like, "You really didn't think that he didn't know what was going on?" And so turns out they planted Monet because they didn't trust Caesar Clown or Law. Then he gets there. Virgo got a ship. He went to Punk Hazard. He's like, the children, like you children don't know what you're doing. Leave it. The adults need to know what's good. That's such a condescending thing to say. I mean, because Law is what, 24, I think. Oda just had like a panel in the SBS question corner talking about the ages of the rookies. So Law should be 20, which I get it. That's still young, but like still, like they've been through enough stuff to call him like just it is so intentionally condescending. And then he like literally beats him over the head with either his sword or like another weapon of some kind. And then he also incapacitated Law somehow. So I thought that what happened to him was a result of Luffy, but I don't think it was because Virgo said that if he wanted Law dead, like he would have already been. So I don't know. This is ooh. Ooh. Oh yeah, and then he confirms. He was like, I was spending time in Dressrosa. I am pretty sure based on what I have seen from the comments. I don't consider that a spoiler, but it would make sense if Doflamingo was in Dressrosa. So, you guys, like, I'm I'm quaking in my boots right now. I'm not gonna lie. This is what I'm talking about with a villain. And what you guys said that Caesar Clown, like Punk Hazard and Fishman Island were kind of like the arcs leading up to the main conflict in this saga, just like we had the other arcs leading up to Alabasta or like Marineford, and that honestly makes a lot more sense because the villains just didn't quite seem they just don't seem as high stakes. And I don't mean that they're not good villains, but I'm talking about like the level that Crocodile is, right? Where it feels like he's always 5 steps ahead. He's incredibly powerful. You don't know how you're gonna beat him versus like with Hody, right? Like Luffy could land several punches on him. There was no big like how are we going to defeat this villain? And same with Enel. I mean, the fact that it took so long for Luffy in that confrontation to arrive with Enel, but then you realize that he's made of rubber and it's possible. But like Enel is such this imposing godlike figure, so I won't keep going about it, but like when I say a good villain, that's what I mean, and I'm very excited because I feel like we are very close to getting there. Even if that brings a lot of pain, but I want to feel all the emotions. But like the difference with Vanderdecken was like he's a like I don't enjoy that type of villain. Is he a villain? Of course, but like he's like a dirty gross villain and I don't like dirty gross villains. I want, you know, psychotic, calculating, you know, horrifying villains. That's what I want. Anyway, okay, massive rant. We met Virgo, not a good sign. So then we go back to Clown, and now like everybody's knocked out. And one of the pirates had mentioned, like, is that the hockey of the Supreme King? But I don't think so. I think it has something to do with the gas, maybe? I don't know. Maybe it's hockey. It could be hockey, but I don't know. I'm surprised that Luffy would like succumb to it like that, especially since he was training with Rayleigh for that long. So I don't think that it's hockey. I could be wrong, but we'll see. So then Sanji was able to get the samurai's torso back. He's all put together and he's very thankful to Sanji. And I will say I do really, really love how Sanji is being so mindful of being in Nami's body and like swimming through the cold. It's like very, very clear that he cares about her and her well-being. Then he gets to the front and there's slime everywhere. And he's like, what have you guys done about this? And Zoro and Brooke were like, we tried and it didn't work. We just did nothing. So then the samurai guy cuts through the slime. A massive explosion goes off again. I was like, no. But then they're fine. And you're like, what the heck? It's because he cut through the explosion. So now the samurai has Zoro's full attention because he's like, I'm gonna need to see how you samurai of Wano fight because I want to be able to slice through fire and explosion. So very, very cool. I am liking this samurai guy now. Forgive me, I know I keep forgetting his name, but things are really heating up. I'm excited, so I'm gonna keep reading. I don't know if I'll have any more time to read today, but I'll try to get both these videos up. So I will check in. You got 3 seconds to scroll away for One Piece spoilers. One, two, three. Don Quixote Doflamingo. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew that he was the Joker. I knew it. And what the heck? What the heck? That's the first time that we've heard like his full name, right? I don't remember seeing Don Quixote do Flamingo in the manga. First of all, I was supposed to be done reading. I really don't have any more time. But I saw that the next chapter was called The Joker, Virgo and the Joker. And I'm like, well, I have to read this. And so we see the kids, the parents on the island begging G5 to look for their kids because they know they're still alive. And they're like, no, your kids died in an accident. And I thought it was very interesting. They were talking about Virgo so highly, saying that he was like a gentleman and that he protected the island from pirates before. And then we see the children have woken back up. They want the candy, and Caesar Clown is there with the candy. Dude, this is getting worse by the second. Then we cut to Virgo and Monet talking. We see that Tashigi, Smoker, Luffy, Law, Frankie, and Robin have all been tied up and they are in a cell. And now that they're all like tied up, the secrets, dude, just come pouring out. So Smoker's livid that he never caught on to the fact that Virgo, he's like in charge of the entire G5, that he was so upset that he never caught on that Virgo was a plant. And Virgo was like, well, I was like on the highest of alert, basically. So now that that stress is gone, it feels great. But obviously, you're not going to leave here alive. And then Law, furthermore, he goes, well, Virgo works for the Joker. He's a pirate first, and he works for the Joker. And he was planted 15 years ago as an agent to work his way up. So he is like the Joker's like most prized secret agent because he's that deeply infiltrated, which is nuts. And then so Smoker's like the Joker, like some like a I think he said a black market lister. And then Luffy goes, well, who is the Joker? And then Law's like, I only know I worked for him. Of I used to work for him, and he's this terrifying individual. He says Don Quixote do Flamingo. And dude, the face that he makes on that panel is so freaky and crazy. I'm so excited. I know I shouldn't be because you guys have told me about the terror that awaits from this man, but you guys, I am so ready. I'm so ready for the high stakes again. So I was right, obviously. I figured I was, but dang. Don Quixote do Flamingo. That is one of the best villain names I think I've heard. That rolls right off the tongue. I love it. All right. That's genuinely all I have time for today. Hopefully I can update all of these, edit them and update these for you. But wow, when Luffy looks like this and says stuff like this, you know it's about to go down. I am so excited. He is about to kick some major butt. I just read 3 chapters. I just finished up chapter 676. There's a lot going on, so let's catch up. Nami and Usopp have a face off against Caesar Clown, and these poor kids, he's trying to re-kidnap them, and they're so into these withdrawal effects. They don't really care who or where they go as long as they get more of this candy. And Nami is so angry on their behalf. And I feel so much for her because I'm sure this brings back like so many terrible memories of her time with Arlong. But it's really sweet to see her be such an advocate for these kids. So they're stuck in a rock and a hard place because the kids are aggressive and they're also trying to fight off Caesar Clown without harming the children. So Caesar Clown pulls this really cheap move where he sucks the oxygen out of the air because Usopp attempted to throw some fire at him and he takes the oxygen out. So the fire goes out. And then he also can remove the oxygen so that they can't breathe. So that's how he got Smoker and Luffy and Robin and Law and all of them. Not Law, actually. Virgo got Law. So really creative. I love it when Oda flips the script with these devil fruit powers. It's totally an obvious thing that would make sense with his power, but because he's been using it so much for like poison or things like that, like you forget other basic ways that it could be used. So I really, really enjoy reading how he has fun and gets creative with these devil fruit powers. So unfortunately, so Brownbeard actually does come to the rescue, which was a very pleasant surprise, but unfortunately, Caesar Clown does apprehend the children and he makes this worldwide announcement that he's about to create this like massive world domination weapon. And he invites anybody to come and watch because he's going to perform a live demonstration. He's looking for like a partnership or someone who would be interested in acquiring this. And we see that Captain Kidd is watching, and I'm very excited because Captain Kidd, it was Luffy, not Luffy, it was Law and Kidd. Those were the two out of the supernovas that I was most interested in. So he is, well, I'm not necessarily interested in weapons of world domination, but like there's no hurt in at least seeing what it's all about. So to create this weapon of mass destruction, Slimy, the frog axolotl slime creature, is officially whole. Izurkon feeds it a massive piece of candy, which basically transforms it. I believe he calls it Land of the Dead. It's just, he transforms into this massive cloud of smoke that is enveloping the entire island. It's freezing people where they stand. No one is surviving it. It's really bad. Zoro, Brook, and Sanji are running for their lives, and the samurai. This was really interesting, you guys. There was a bag of apples, and when the smoke cloud like approached it, they turned into devil fruits, dude. This was fascinating. We have never seen like anything about the origin of devil fruits or where they come from. So I'm like, are they fruits that are like touched by some supernatural effect? Is there a way to like mass produce them if that's the case with this? Is it randomized? Does it turn into one fruit? I'm very curious. It was just a bag of apples, so I don't know. It's very interesting. Part of me, I'm like, do they all have the same effect? Because I don't think it's possible for someone to eat the same fruit, I believe. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But I was very excited to see some potential devil fruit lore happening. So while this is going on, we are back with Luffy and the gang trapped in jail. It's revealed that Caesar Clown, in order for Law to stay on the island, made him give his heart. He Caesar made Law give his heart to him so that it would be balanced because he is in charge of the island, but Law is stronger than him, which I thought was funny for him to admit. Then Caesar gave his heart to freaking Virgo. So that's what knocked Law out. Virgo literally has his heart, which is infuriating. And again, Monet, I think, doesn't actually, he didn't actually, she didn't give her heart to anybody. It's just like one big nasty scam, basically, from like Law's perspective. And Law honestly doesn't seem super upset by this. So Caesar Clown is ready to throw all of them out into this smoke cloud as a further testament to his Land of the Dead destruction weapon. And Law is fully prepared for this, so he has Frankie set a ship on fire, and while it's smoking, Law had secretly placed non-Sea Prism handcuffs everywhere throughout the fortress, so his handcuffs are easy to come off. He frees everybody else. Luffy busts through the bars of the cage when Law isn't looking. Law's like, how did you get out? Because Luffy's like, hey, how do you get inside of this thing? It was so funny. But Law straight up was like, I wasn't expecting Virgo to be here and have this part of the plan, but it's time for a counterattack. I fully planned for this. Chopper was fretting about how to save them, and a piece of paper hit him that said, don't do anything. So you're gonna be sick of me hearing, you're gonna be sick of hearing it from me. But Law is cool. He's just cool. He's so like calm under pressure. Like this is such a hopeless looking desperate situation, and like Law is not seemingly stressed in the least. I'm sure he is a little bit, but he still very much has a plan. And I do think it's funny. I mean, Luffy's as carefree as ever, and I think it's because he knows that Law has a plan. He's just not worried. He's like, we're gonna take this guy down. So awesome, awesome, awesome. So they all bust out and they get into the fortress right as Nami, Usopp, Zoro, the rest of the crew, plus Samurai Guy all get there. And I loved like the full panel scene where it like shows everybody lined up. And of course, I'll show this again, Luffy's face where it says it's I love this panel of Luffy. I'll show it again where he says it's time to raise some hell. Amazing, so cool. It gets me so hype. And then another important thing too, I think that I left out was it showed we went back to Captain Kidd. He has reunited and he has got is it Basil Hawk? Captain Basil and then Basil Hawkins, that's what it is. So he's with Basil Hawkins and what's his name? Sketchman, that guy. So they're all together and they're all fighting, but they are actively trying to form an alliance, which I find is quite interesting. So it's if they do intend to ally together, that would be a very powerful alliance. So it's a good thing that Luffy and Law are forming an alliance because something tells me they're going to need each other for this. And again, I think it's something that Law has planned for. It's definitely, I think, the best thing that they could be doing right now. I am seriously excited to see Luffy beat some Caesar clown butt. It's what he does best. I'm so ready for the counterattack, as Law so nicely put it. So I'm reading, I'm enjoying, and I will check in soon. Genuinely cannot believe I'm saying this, but Robert has competition. He has serious competition. When I tell you the villains in this arc are making me so genuinely mad, they are, I am like, I'm so angry. Like, I haven't, the anger that I feel like towards Akainu is different. Same with like the Celestial Dragons. This is like it's personal. It feels so personal. I'm not even kidding you. I'm so mad at these villains. I literally need everybody to lock in and beat some butt because I am so disgusted with them. So, first of all, I was all excited thinking that we discovered some cool devil fruit lore, and no, I had to go back and reread it after you guys in the comments told me that the slime monster he was killed and betrayed by Caesar, and he literally, as he died to transform into the smoke or the gas, it was just the slime's devil fruit power reincarnating into the fruit that was just right there. So that was actually significantly worse and not as fun as what I thought it was. So, dude, I'm telling you, Robert would be great friends. You know what? No, okay. Okay. These people legitimately, Caesar is he will betray anything that breathes. He would betray something that wouldn't breathe. Like he literally has no allegiance to anybody except himself. Like quite literally every single thing is a pawn. And we've met villains like this before, but like this dude has legitimately no moral compass. Like literally no moral compass. He is awful. He is terrible. He has gone from being this like annoying dude with the annoying laugh to like genuinely absolutely despicable. Absolutely despicable. And then don't get me started on Virgo. I what chapter did I just finish reading? I just binged a bunch. So I just finished chapter 680. So let's do a recap. So, Law basically tells everybody that they have 2 hours to get out and get to the ocean. Otherwise, it's none of them are gonna make it. He also tells Tashigi and Smoker that they cannot interfere with the Straw Hat crew, with his plans in any way, and that they cannot go after Virgo. And so Smoker gets ready to take off, and I really like Smoker, dude. He's awesome. He's such a cool character. So Tashigi's like, "Oh no, like what do you can't go after Virgo." And he was like, the law says a man can't take justice or the law into his own hands, but I'm not gonna make this scumbag make a mockery of the Navy." And he's ticked. He's so mad, you guys. I love it. So he ends up running off with Luffy. I also had a question for you guys. So when Luffy is getting ready to leave to go find Caesar, Zoro calls out to him and he's like, "Luffy, the new world starts here, so do it right this time," because he lost to Caesar. And then Sanji says he's so tough on himself. Um, is he talking about Luffy or is he talking about Zoro? Like, because I know was mad that the snow guys like knocked them all out, but was like, who was he talking about? Was he talking to about Luffy or Zoro? Let me know because I was like, I keep looking at it trying to figure it out, and I feel like both of them can be. I feel like it's more applicable to Zoro, right? But yeah, let me know because I was confused about that. So anyway, meanwhile, Virgo and Caesar realize that everyone has escaped Straw Hat's law, everybody. So Virgo is stressed out because his head's going to be on a pike if anything happens with law and he's able to escape. And then Caesar obviously needs the Straw Hats in particular to die from this mass weapon so that he can get a buyer for this technology that he's developed. So Caesar comes up with a plan to basically like catch Luffy in one of the buildings by allowing the smoke to come in, the gas from the other building. But doing that, he's going to wipe out a ton of his own men and loyal people to do so. And Virgo also doesn't want to do this only because it's only going to trap Luffy. And again, he needs law in particular. So he goes off on his own to handle things. And then Caesar decides to go ahead with his own plan. Chopper, as well, is running away and trying to figure out how to escape. And it looks like Monet does know that he is there, which I figured. I mean, she seems pretty strong, but I do wonder if she's like what a double agent. Like maybe she has some allegiance to law in a way, or it could be her own self-interest. Hopefully she doesn't try to do anything to Chopper, but we will see. So as the gas is pouring in and everyone's desperately trying to get through the closing gate, Tashigi gets launched through the gate right as it's about to close, and the rest of the comrades have to hold her back to keep her from going back. And her soldiers just wanted her to be safe, so they tossed her in, and then they all gave her a thumbs up as they froze over from the gas. And oh my gosh, you guys, this legitimately is like, well, when you guys told me about the devil fruit and the slime monster, that like immediately made me really mad. And then you cut to this panel with Caesar Clown, and he's like, "Oh yeah, die, you wretched vermin! You're scrambling." Like, it is so cold and sadistic and completely awful. I cannot stand this guy. I cannot stand him. He is evil. He's terrible. I mean, he's a good villain, I guess, but like, holy cow, he's a piece of garbage. Calling him a piece of garbage is like a compliment. That's how bad this guy is. So, anyway, Tashigi and the soldiers are like, okay, we gotta keep moving because we can't let all that sacrifice be in vain. And then the rest of the Straw Hats have hitched a ride on the back of Brownbeard. And he's like, "Why are you all riding back here?" And Zoro's like, "You're just gonna have to do it. You're just gonna have to uh carry us. There's no other option. We're all sick and tired of running." And Brownbeard goes, "That's a terrible reason. Get off." Zoro, I feel like we haven't seen a lot of like unserious Zoro lately. So I feel like he's kind of goofy. Like he's still being serious, but it's a lot of like very dry humor from him, and it's funny because I feel like even the dry humor we haven't gotten a ton of. So I'm really enjoying this with him. I thought it was very funny. Oh my gosh. So then you cut back to Tashigi and her soldiers. You guys, Virgo appears. They're like, "Oh, we went, look, Virgo came to help us." And dude, you get these like flashback scenes with Tashigi and like going through all of this stuff with Virgo about how he's literally painted himself to be this like responsible, upstanding, like gold star Marine naval officer. And it is so sick. You guys, it is so sick. And Tashigi is like terrified because she knows that he's come there to basically kill them. And this dude just cold heartedly uses the finger pistol and kills one of these guys. Oh my gosh. When I tell you, when he broke out that finger pistol, it literally catapulted me back to Luigi. It literally, I felt like I feel like he's back. And it makes me so mad. I feel like this is Robert number two, but like arguably worse. I am quite literally sick. I have more to update on, so I'm gonna have to do a part two. But yeah, he grabs Tashigi and literally like punches the heck out of her. And then you guys, oh my gosh, she's like, Smoker, help. And then you hear someone say, "Oh, I heard the call of a woman for help," or "I heard her tears falling," and Sanji comes out and kicks the crap out of Virgo. Oh my gosh, this is the Sanji that I know and that I love and that oh my gosh, this was like a total Mr. Prince, like Skypiea moment for me. This was amazing. I loved it. Okay, I'm gonna have to do part two, so stay tuned. I genuinely don't know how Luffy is gonna beat this guy. I don't know how he's gonna do it. I know that he's not even the main villain right now, but he's terrifying. I just read chapter 682. I am quite literally speechless. Let's rewind. So this is technically like part 2 update from my last video. So we see Luffy and Smoker and they've arrived at the lab where Caesar Clown is, and Luffy's all out of breath and he literally was running so fast that he set the ground on fire. And Smoker's like, "Are you ready?" And Luffy's like, "No, not yet. I'll say when." I thought it was funny that he was like waiting to knock or to like enter until Luffy was ready. And Luffy's like, "All right, I'll say when." And then Smoker goes ahead and opens it, and he's like, "I wasn't ready yet." Then they only see Caesar Clown, and Luffy's like, "It's mine," because it wasn't Virgo, because that's who Smoker's after. And then Luffy, oh my dude, punches the crap out of Caesar. It's so satisfying. It's so satisfying. So Smoker runs off to go find Virgo, and then Luffy and Caesar start battling. Basically, the gas trick where he sucked all the oxygen out of the air only works with a certain radius, so Luffy has to try to maintain that radius. Thankfully, he's made of rubber, so he can either like stretch his neck above or like stretch it back or whatever the case. But it's definitely a pretty tough battle. I mean, and then Clown literally pulled this cheap trick where he made the oxygen into like an oxygen sword. It's freaking crazy. So Luffy was about to fully land a really good hit, but then Monet, of course, jumped in and did like an igloo wall and defended Caesar Clown. She said, "Well, if anything happens to the master, Doflamingo would get rid of me." And then Luffy's like, "What is with this flamingo guy that I saw in the war? Why is he all of a sudden incredibly terrifying and relevant? Even though he has been, it's Luffy. He doesn't really register any information, I don't think, that's being said at any point in time until much later." Then we go back to Sanji and Virgo. Sanji hits him and he like goes into a wall. And Sanji was like, "What, are you made of metal or something?" And then he's kind of like, "Oh, I see." Virgo is very powerful and he's very weird. Like, clearly Sanji figured something out and I have not put the pieces together yet. But I also think it's like, is he just, because I know that these guys just get quirky in the way that they are, because he's like, "I'll take a picture with a camera that I bought," and then they're like, "You didn't buy any cameras," and he's like, "Oh." So I'm like, and then there's an overhead thing that goes off saying that Law has infiltrated the SAD room. Virgo panics, and Sanji literally says that he just disappears, which is nuts. Like, I'm like, is he a is it does it have to do with his devil fruit? Is he just, I don't know. He's very odd. I don't like him, but he's very odd. Like I feel like I'm missing a big piece of the puzzle with Virgo, which would make sense because he was just introduced, but very odd. But Sanji held him off at least and survived the gas, thank goodness. And then we see Law, dude. Caesar was freaking out when he realized that Law has penetrated this top secret room. He's like, that boy has got one big nightmare planned. He's gonna release hell onto the world. You just see Law have this like smile, and then in the next chapter, you see it's like this big container that says SAD on it. And dude, Law has got this creepy, like maniacal grin on his face. That's the kind of look, if someone says that they're the surgeon of death and then they have that kind of smile on their face, I'm out of there. Like I'm not even, you can't even, you just see like a dust cloud from like where I used to be. I'm bolting out of there. So I mean, I'm thankful that he's on our side, but like what is he planning? I'm so curious. So now everyone is rapidly trying to get to Law because he's stirring up some trouble. Then that's right. So and then another piece with Virgo was the Navy soldiers were like, that couldn't have been the real Virgo, right? There's no way. And then Tashigi says, no, you're right. That was a copy of Virgo. That wasn't the real one. Was she just saying that to like make them feel better? Like I feel like on surface value that's what it's like, the facial expression on her face kind of makes it seem like maybe something did happen to him. But again, I feel like he's like Robert. He's their expert infiltrators because that's what I'm saying. It's such a convincing betrayal. These men so clearly felt loyal to him in the same way that like we all loved Robert as a shipwright, and then it's like you're in denial, and then he just goes and does these horrible things and you're like, oh, this is personal. So that's how I'm feeling with Virgo. I'm like, okay, am I missing something? Like is he like Kuma, or is he just like genuinely like Robert and he's a despicable, terrible human being and he betrays everybody that, you know, isn't Doflamingo. So I don't know. He's very mean. That interaction with Law, like that was such a testament to me of like his true colors. So I feel like it is Virgo, and she was just saying that to make her men feel better. It made me so upset, regardless. like I cannot stand Virgo, and I fear that we have many more chapters with him. Unfortunately, he's got to go. He's got to go. I'm so mad at him. So, I'm sorry. We are going to get into Doflamingo, but I'm going to do it on another video. So, because I can't, like, I'm going to have to yap about this dude because he's so freaky. And then I plan to get all of these videos edited and uploaded today. So, I'll check in. So, now let's talk about Don Quixote. Again, scroll if you have not read Punk Hazard. So, we get this up close look of Doflamingo, and he is lounging on this chair with many women around him. Immediate red flag. I mean, this dude's a walking red flag, but anyway. So he's talking on the phone with Virgo, and Virgo is explaining everything that Law has betrayed them and that he's trying to infiltrate and obtain this SAD weapon or whatever the case. And Doflamingo's like, oh, that's such a shame, especially since I took him in like a little brother and watched him grow and everything, which just sounds creepy coming from him. Like, oh, dude. So then I'm quite literally speechless about this. This random woman, she's in a like a maid, like a housekeeper outfit, and she just pulls up with a friggin' like bazooka gun and shoots Doflamingo. And he literally just like flips back in his chair and he's fine. Like, no reaction. Like, literally no reaction. And then he's got like these other crewmates around, and all the while he's talking to Virgo, and he's like, well, yeah, if I would kidnap Caesar too, no, I'd actually just kill Caesar. And then he's like, but if Caesar dies, then he's the only one that knows like how to manufacture this weapon. but then it would have to go to me, and that would be a problem. And if I have a problem, it means everyone's going to have a problem. He's just so terrifying. Like, I kid you not. And then he says this, you guys. He says, I need you to kill Law so wretchedly, so atrociously, that he wished, or he is going to wish, that he was never born. Are we so for real? Are we so for real? This is, I'm legitimately trying to think of another villain that has said something like this off the cuff, ridiculously insane, and I can't think of one. Remind me, please, if I have forgotten, because that is insane. That is wild. That is that is so terrifying. So, I mean, we're Oda is painting a very nice picture for us, a very not nice picture of just how bad this guy is. So then he tells Virgo, oh yeah, and then Virgo's like, "Oh yeah, of course. I'll take a picture." That's what I was talking about in my last video, like, "Oh, I'll take a picture." There's no way. Like, a Virgo's just, he's got to be absolutely as psychotic as Doflamingo is. Unless Doflamingo, so I said this, okay? I said this way back in Jaya when we got our very first look at Doflamingo. Um no, this wasn't Jaya. It was the beginning of Long Ring Longland. We got our kind of like Doflamingo was introduced in Jaya, but then we get like a look at just how crazy this guy is, and it was with Bellamy. And I made a prediction that Doflamingo you has like the control fruit, and that he's able to control people. Um, so I'm standing by that, I think. I don't know like how he cut off like Orange Jr.'s leg, but that's what I'm saying. Like, could he give a command for someone's like limbs to just stay unattached? Like, he just seems, he's clearly very, very powerful. Um, and I tend to notice, like, I don't know, I feel like for someone like this, if they have so much power and control, it's like no wonder he's so laid back all the time. Like, but then also he gets so angry. Like, you see the veins on his forehead. He's very clearly somebody that loves having control and feels entitled to control and is used to having control. So I don't know. That's like my next hypothesis. I feel like now that it's been confirmed that Doflamingo is Joker, that I'm gonna his I think his fruit has something to do with the control of humans or people, things in general, which is very, very, it's just very creepy. It's very odd. Not odd. It's very unsettling. That's the word. That's the word. So he's like, I've got a woman over here who's a bit restless, so I'm gonna send baby number 5 and Buffalo to you. Watch out for Straw Hat because he has awakened the Supreme Conqueror's hockey. And he could end up being even more dangerous than Law. So he's like, I'm sending these reinforcements to you. Take care of them, and then I want all of you back here in Dressrosa. So freaky, so freaky and scary. This dude is no joke. It's what I have been waiting for. I just genuinely like, this is what I'm talking about. He genuinely feels untouchable. I mean, this woman fired a bazooka at him and he didn't even blink. It's it's nuts. He is next level for sure. Um so then we cut back, and Brownbeard and the rest of the Straw Hats are trying to locate the kids and get out, and they're also fighting this dragon. So Nami and the gang were able to take it down, and then we cut to one of the kids. They're like, okay, the experiments are done for the day, go back in your room and have some candy. And then the girl's like, well, what about the boy who went into the secret room and turned into a dragon, Momonosuke? So no, they're like fighting and roasting these dragons left and right. So I'm like, what if one of them is the boy and he's trying to get back to his dad, but they don't know? But then I'm like, uh, I don't know. I don't know. I want him to be okay. I don't even think we've seen him yet. There was like the one dragon that was smaller. So I'm like, was that him? Can he be changed back? Maybe Law could fix him, right? Maybe? I hope so. So we'll see. We'll see if I have more time to keep reading. That was a good chunk that I got knocked out. But yeah, my brain is spinning. There is so much information happening and battles happening. Like it's crazy. It's crazy how in the midst of this like battle and confrontation that Oda can still just drop all of these bombshells and crazy characters one after another. And while it's definitely chaotic, it's all of it is cohesive and you're still like you're just sucked into the story. You don't want to stop reading. So even almost 700 chapters in, I adore this story and I want to keep reading and I don't want to put it down. I think that that is just a testament to how he is as an artist, as a writer, as a storyteller. It's incredible. Hope you enjoyed. I will check in. Happy Memorial Day. I just finished reading chapter 687. We've got quite the chunk to cover, so let's get into it. So we start with not Zoro, Law. He is fighting with Virgo, and this is a pretty brutal fight. It's just not fair. Virgo's got Law's heart, and it's just rough. I mean, Law is going through it right now, especially now that Virgo got the okay from Doflamingo to off him in the most traumatizing, terrible way possible. And Virgo's not pulling any punches, but neither is Law. Law is really giving it as much as he can, and he's still doing things like defiantly calling Virgo just Virgo, which makes him really mad. But needless to say, things are not going well for Law, but then Smoker shows up and is finally getting to take some anger and rage out on Virgo. And once again, he just talks about his soldiers and he doesn't want his soldiers to find out about Virgo's betrayal because he knows how that's going to impact the morale of his men. Once again, I really love Smoker. Just a great moment from him. It's nice to see him fighting with somebody that's not Luffy. Then after that, the gas is still running rampant. We see Sanji and Tashigi and the rest of the Navy soldiers running to try to escape from the gas. And then oh my word, dude, I'm not even kidding you. It has been like I'm trying to remember the last villain that genuinely made me want to crash out this hard. Caesar Clown is awful. Like he is such a despicable, manipulative, lying POS. He is so horrid. He's in the quote unquote secret room, which is basically just Dr. Vegapunk's like old main lab room. And he's totally putting on this sob story show for the soldiers because they're like, wait a minute, you said you just created the gas that wiped everybody out however many years ago? He was like, no, that was Dr. Vegapunk. I tried to stop him. And he's like, I'm doing all this so that my plans for world peace come to fruition. Please, please shut up. Like, these soldiers just, or the pirates fall for it. Like, there's no it's just he's so conniving and awful. And you do go into a flashback where it clearly shows that he released the gas when Dr. Vegapunk actually he fired him from the lab because his experiments were getting too crazy and creepy and out of control. So but he's just like his facial expressions, he's like he's such a standard like despicable bad guy. But I don't know, there's just no redeemable qualities about this guy. Like he is not likable in the least. His stupid laugh comes into my head every single time I read his laugh, when I see his face, honestly. Then the Monet, the harpy girl, she kind of fought off with Luffy for a little bit, and he ended up crashing through the floor and kind of landed like in the trash heap and like the air ducts, I think she said. It's then that he sees a tiny little dragon. It's Momonosuke, this poor little kid. Luffy's like, first of all, Luffy sees him and starts drooling because he looks like an eel. So he wants to eat him. So Momonosuke talks to Luffy about how he ended up in this situation. So he wasn't originally one of the kidnapped children. He was running away to go do something. He is very much like his father. You can't see like what he actually looks like. You just kind of see like his shadow essentially. He snuck into Dr. Vegapunk's lab, stole an artificial devil fruit that Clown had created, which was very interesting. I thought it looked off when it showed it, but I didn't even think that it was possible to recreate an artificial dragon fruit. I guess it's completely possible, but I just never even thought that. I guess I had talked about if they could be manufactured, but again, just very kind of like very groundbreaking information in here. So he does eat that, and then he runs into Mocha, and he transforms into the dragon and has to run. So hopefully he can go back to his original form, but he talks to Luffy and says that the children who are eating the candy are not going to survive, that he had overheard Caesar Clown talking, and the children, they are only an experimental batch. He is not feeding them this in the hopes to use them as the super soldiers for the Navy. They will perish in about 5 years. So it's not great. And this makes Luffy livid. He's got that, he's angry. Like he's been angry, but now that he knows genuinely that the children are quite literally only used for experimentation and they're not going to live, he's very, very, very upset. So he's getting ready to go back and beat some Caesar Clown, but they need to get out of there first. The boy also is starving. He hasn't eaten, he's refused food, and Luffy's like, "You idiot, you haven't, you're like this because you haven't eaten in so long." So then something really interesting happens. He says, "Get a grip." And this, like, fully affects Momonosuke. It's so weird. You can see how it, like, transforms Luffy's face in his mind. It totally, like, wakes him up and he can start flying. So he flies himself and Luffy out of there. This was just very interesting. So it must be something to do with his Conqueror's hockey, I'm assuming. And then there's a bit, I will get into it. I'll get into it more, but there was another bit further on that I read that connected back to this that I'm very, very interested about. After they escape, we cut from Luffy and Momonosuke, and then we return to the bulk of the crew. They are running to try to protect the children. The children actively, again, are chasing after the candy. Poor Mocha is grabbing the bag and just running for it. These kids are super aggressive. Robin is trying everything. Nami is trying everything to try to get these kids back. Monet steps in to stop them. This girl is on my nerves. Like she's so obnoxious, but I will say I now that I've read the fight, it was very satisfying. So it's also like so brutal because you see Mocha thinking back to like each of her friends, and then it shows the side by panel of how affected they are by this withdrawal. And again, just such a rotten thing that Caesar is partaking in, that Monet is helping him with, that Flamingo is supporting, potentially funding in some way. It is like seriously twisted stuff. And Robin is blocking the kids with her hands, and then she gets stabbed through by Monet, which I'm like, I don't mess with that. Leave my girl alone. Then she goes to go after Zoro, blocks her, but then she goes to go after Nami, and this makes Zoro super angry. He's like, "Really? You're gonna go after the weakest link?" There is some pretty awesome, subtle character work with Zoro and this time skip. I'm gonna stop here because I'm out of time and go to a part two essentially with the Zoro and Monet fight because it's pretty awesome. I'll talk about it then. But we're wrapping up. I believe Punk Hazard goes to, what is it, like chapter 699 or 700. So I will officially finish that up. I'd like to finish it today if I can. Stay tuned for another update. I'll make a part two. So now part two, let's talk about the Zoro fight in Punk Hazard. This was an awesome moment. So I will say it's not just Zoro, it is very much it was Zoro and Tashigi versus Monet. First of all, I would like to say so Monet is a Logia type. I don't think I really realized it until it got to this kind of like courtyard battle. Monet is freaking creepy. She turns into this like snow monster harpy thing. She kind of reminds me almost of like a siren in a way, but she's super creepy and she can turn into snow. I'm assuming that's her Logia type. Correct me if I'm wrong, but she can quite literally like become snow. And Zoro really is only defending against her, making sure that she doesn't go and get the other crew members. He's not really eager to fight her. And there was a really funny bit where Sanji with Tashigi and the rest of the soldiers come charging in and they have like a funny interaction together. And Sanji's like, pull up your lip and make fun of him, essentially. But then he tells Sanji to go on and he's got things handled. She decides to stay behind as well. It's kind of like a reminiscent moment of when they had met and fought back in Town, which was a while back, and Zoro did not want to fight women. This was, which again, a kind of a similarity that Zoro and Sanji have with one another. But the soldiers, as they were running with Sanji, were that Zoro guy he's pretty scary. Like he'll fight anyone, no problem. Because Sanji had reiterated the fact that he will never hit or fight a woman, which again, I still love and respect that so much from him, as much as he's saddled with such a joke. And again, like a really great moment from Sanji where he goes, Laura's actually a bigger softie than you would think. And I just feel like, I mean, all the crew love and recognize each other for who they are, but I definitely think there's just there's just a deeper level of mutual respect, understanding, I feel like, from Zoro and Sanji. I feel like especially from Sanji. I mean, Zoro, you just don't really see those moments enough, but you do see them here. But and again, thank you guys for clarifying the question that I had with the interaction between Zoro, Luffy, and Sanji, where Sanji was in fact talking to Zoro when he said that he's too hard on himself. And it's true. I don't know. I really love it. I think the gag of them fighting all the time is hilarious. I eat it up every time that it's on the page. But again, I think it's very much like a surface level gag. There is a much deeper understanding, especially I feel like once they got through the Thriller Bark incident, only the two of them know what occurred there and what happened, especially on Sanji's end. I feel like he definitely has a lot of respect for Zoro as much as they fight and make fun of each other. But anyway, Zoro's Chishigi's like, you're not gonna fight her, so I'll do it. Zoro's like, okay, that's fine. My job is to make sure she doesn't go past that tunnel to my crewmates. If you've got it, that's fine. So Tashigi immediately has a very hard time fighting against this girl. When it's really not looking good, Zoro jumps in and takes over. He's like, "Well, you were taking too long, so now I've got to get back to my crewmates." So Monet is shocked because Zoro actually slices her. She was not expecting him to fight women at all, and this is the difference between Zoro and Sanji. Zoro definitely does what needs to be done, which is why Sanji just let him handle that. Monet is like still reeling from this, and Zoro has a really, really cool moment. I love this sentence and quote from him. He's like, "You underestimated me, Snow Woman. Tell me, there's plenty of times I don't like to use my swords, but have you ever met a wild beast that you could guarantee would never bite a human?" That's such like a chilling, cool aura farming moment. Like it's so cool because there's times I don't want to fight, but like anyone is fair game basically if it gets in the way of what I need to do. Then he literally uses one sword style, which I thought was very interesting, and I wonder if he learned it. I mean, he knows how to use them, but he literally sliced Monet in half, which is fine because she's made of snow. But it's such a cool panel. It's is awesome. It's one of my favorite Zorro fights that I've seen because he's fought a lot, but this was just, I think because he was just so calm and collected and in control. He's very, very confident in this newfound power that he has. And I don't know, it was just a wise thing to say from Zorro. You just don't think of Zorro saying kind of these wise things, but I know there's a lot of hesitancy. I don't know, every time I say that Zorro is the vice captain, I get a lot of comments being like he's not the vice captain, but he is very much Luffy's backup. He's very serious. He does what he needs to be done, and he takes that role really seriously. And I feel like this was a very good showcase from Oda that the time skip did impact Zoro in a lot of ways. I think that he is definitely a lot more serious, especially when it comes to protecting his crew members. He's always been like that, but it just seems like especially more so now. And it could just be because they all had to watch each other get ripped away back before Marineford, and then he heard about what happened in Marineford. No one just wants any repeat of that, and Zoro specifically, he just cares a lot for the crew, even if he has rough, non-traditional ways of showing it. I just love his character because he's just very unique in the way that he shows his love for his crewmates, in the way that he deals with combat. He's not, I don't know, he's such a well written character. I really enjoy him a lot when we get moments like this with him. Then, the really interesting bit that ties back to what I was talking about earlier with Luffy and Momonosuke is he didn't completely kill Monet because he didn't use Haki with his sword move, but she was so petrified with the knowledge that she could have died had he used Haki that she couldn't even like form herself again. And again, Zoro was able to do that, confident and knowing that she would not be able to, that he could win without having to like end her life. Very, very interesting. And it was said in this that Haki can force a Logia devil fruit user back into their original form, which I know that's the whole point of like the armament Haki, so that you can like tangibly hit somebody that's snow or gas or anything. But I wonder if Luffy would be able to use his Haki to like command or force Momonosuke's body to return to his original child form instead of being a dragon. That would be really cool. It would make the most sense, again, especially seeing what happened between the two of them when Luffy was like, get a grip, and then all of a sudden he could fly. So hopefully Luffy can help him out with Haki and help him get back to his kid form. But I loved the fight. It was really awesome. Some awesome character work and showcasing for Zoro. I feel like even Tashigi now sees him in kind of a different light than she last saw him. So great moment, great chapters. I can't remember if I've talked about this in the last video, but I'd like to finish Punk Hazard like today or tomorrow. So stay tuned for the updates. I thought the panel with Big Mom in Fishman Island was scary, but I think I have found a panel that beats that somehow. I made it all the way to chapter 696 last night, so we have got quite the chunk to get through. I thought I'd kind of do like a sit down discussion, and then I'm going to live read the rest of Punk Hazard today, so let's do it. I'm so excited. So, when we left off in Punk Hazard, Zoro and Tashigi had just finished their fight with Monet. We cut back and we see Mocha. Mocha is still running and running, and she makes the really dangerous but very brave decision to eat all of the candy at once so that she can save her friends. She immediately starts to cough up blood. It's not great. Chopper is devastated. He doesn't know if he'll be able to save her, but he does what he can, and it does allow the other children to kind of be snapped out of this candy crazed stupor and withdrawal that they're in. It was a very touching moment. I'm really, really hoping that she pulls through because she's such a sweet character. And then we see Brownbeard. He has gotten into the secret room with Caesar, and he is trying to out Caesar in front of the other pirates and his men to kind of show them how Caesar truly is. These pirates are just so brainwashed into thinking that Caesar is a great guy, and Caesar literally has them shoot down Brownbeard. It's a really, really sad moment because these are his men, and Caesar officially tells him that it was him that was responsible for the deaths and the destruction of the island several years ago, which of course just further enrages and saddens Brownbeard, and for him to just be so hopeless in defeat at being shot down by his own men who can't see what's right in front of them. It's such a sad moment, but it is curbed by the fact that we see Luffy. He and Momo have arrived. He remembers the love that Brownbeard had for Caesar and the loyalty. If there's one thing that Luffy doesn't mess with, it is leaders, captains, superiors of some sort that abuse those that love them and are loyal to them. Luffy has no such attitude like that with his own crew. They are family, they are Nakama, and he's so over Caesar by this point. It's this series of events, you guys, I'm telling you, this is what I was craving to see from Luffy post Marineford. He really delivers here. It kind of feels like it feels like several pre-time skip moments where he really gets serious, but it kind of it honestly reminded me a lot of Enies Lobby. Like the level of seriousness here, and how depraved Spandam was, and how awful the CP9 members were when they betrayed Iceberg, all of these people that loved them and looked up to them. Luffy just can't stand it, and it's fantastic. So Caesar, seeing Luffy, goes into this massive rant about how Doflamingo uses the SAD, and he uses it in his factory to create artificial Zoan fruit types, which is quite the bombshell. So that must have been what Momo ate, although you guys were correct. It was Dr. Vegapunk's artificial devil fruit and not Caesar's. But I'm curious then, is this perfected, or did Caesar just take up making the SAD, giving it to Doflamingo anyway to make them? I'm very curious to see. And he also goes on to say that Doflamingo then sells the fruits to an emperor in particular, who is building like a Zoan army, essentially. And immediately my thoughts go to Big Mom, because the two of her agents that went to Fishman Island, I believe, were Zoan types. I could be wrong. I can't really see Shanks doing that. I just don't see him dealing with Doflamingo in that way. It could be Blackbeard, but I don't know. That just doesn't really seem like something that Blackbeard would do either. I could be wrong though. I don't know. I feel like it's between Big Mom and Kaido, but at the same time, Big Mom and Kaido have been around so long, unless I'm wrong. I wouldn't think that they would need more people, but I guess if you're an emperor, I mean, your army truly can always stand to get bigger, especially with all of these new heads coming in. But I don't know. My guess is Big Mom. I could be wrong. We will see. So Caesar is just ranting and raving, saying, if you defeat me, you're gonna bring Doflamingo and all of these super powerful people on your head. And then Luffy just says, that's never stopped me before. Punches the crap out of Caesar. Oh my goodness. Listen, the satisfaction of the Luffy punch needs to be studied. Genuinely. It is so good. They are so satisfying. I don't think this was as satisfying as St. Charlos. I mean, that was on another level, but he's gotten some really, really great Caesar punches in here. Like, and I'm glad that there's been several. It's not limited to just one punch. Caesar has deservedly gotten several of these punches from Luffy. Then we leave them momentarily. We see Smoker and Virgo fighting. And Smoker is really fighting a losing game here, and he's using his Logia fruit excessively, which makes no sense because Virgo is really good with armament hockey. So he is just beating into Smoker. However, come to find out, it is merely a distraction so that Law could get his heart back from Virgo. And oh, this was a really intense scene here. He's talking to Virgo, and he's also talking to Doflamingo because Doflamingo has it's the little snail phone. Doflamingo is listening in on this, and he's like, when you smile, that's your plans are going to go wrong. You're not prepared for these new excited heads that are going to come in and shake up the new world. And, Flamingo is still very cocky and confident, and he's like, it takes a lot more than an excited couple individuals to shake things up in the new world. Don't you remember Virgo? He traumatized you when you were a kid, and I'm sure he's really angry right now, so don't mess with him. You can indeed see that Virgo is very, very angry. I'm scared to find out what Law went through. I have a feeling his backstory is going to be quite intense if it has anything to do with Doflamingo and Virgo. But then Law says, I'm not the same kid that I was. I've spent 2 years training, and oh my gosh, you guys, he literally slices not just Virgo in half, not just the SAD lab in half, but the entire like island and mountain in half. It was insane. I mean, I know that Law's powerful, but like this was such a fantastic uh, example of just how much he has leveled up on his own in the 2 years since Marineford. Fantastic scene, so hype, and you can tell that Doflamingo is not happy with the way that he is acting and his defiance. It's so satisfying. It is, oh, it's so great. I'm going to stop here and I'll make a part two to cover the rest of what we need to. All right, part two of the rest of Punk Hazard that I covered last night. I also forgot in my last video talking about the Doflamingo and Law exchange. Virgo had mentioned to Law that he doesn't know anything about Joker's past. He doesn't know what he's getting into. So I'm very curious to find out about Doflamingo's past. I can't imagine. I feel like this dude's been psychotic, like, from birth. I can't imagine Doflamingo being, like, a normal guy in any stage of life. Maybe I'm wrong, but he has that confidence, again, that sense of control that screams that he was either born with a silver spoon in his mouth, or maybe he acquired this devil fruit at an early age, which allowed him to have the amount of power, control, and influence that he's always had. He doesn't seem to me like the type to have a traumatizing childhood. He very much seems like he's been the villain from day one. So we will see, I guess, as we get into Dressrosa. But next up, there was a fantastic scene here between Usopp and Luffy. Not necessarily between them, but Usopp coming to Luffy's defense. He is talking to these pirates who aren't sure about Luffy, and he just talks about how he and the crew members will do anything to support Luffy in the same way that Luffy will do what he says he's going to do. And he says that, again, Caesar is the type of guy that Luffy hates the most. He says that Luffy will never forgive Caesar for what he's done. It's so good. Again, I feel like this is really, we never got a huge emotional reunion with the crew, but there are so many moments in the latter half of this arc just so beautifully stacked on top of one another, where each member of the crew wholeheartedly puts their trust and faith in Luffy on a level that they always did in the first place, but it is with such knowing and confidence that they do this. It's the same with Luffy. He is adamant that he trusts his crew, he supports them, he loves them. When they do something, you know, when they say they're going to do something, he knows they're going to succeed. It's just such a beautiful thing. And again, Luffy and Usopp are so similar in age. I think they're the same age, if I'm wrong. They're so similar. They're so close as friends, and they've been through so much as friends, physically, emotionally. I just love the support that they have for one another. I feel like, again, for Usopp, it's just on such a deep level. I don't know. It just those good Annie's Lobby team and crew bonding moments have been laced through the second half of this arc, and I love it. Anyway, Doflamingo tells baby number 5 and the other guy, Buffalo, to collect Caesar because Luffy just punched him out of the island essentially. So he just tells them to pick him up and get out of there, but Frankie sees them and goes into battle with them. And then he also tells Monet to flip a switch that will blow up the entire island because he can take Caesar and lock him up somewhere to continue producing SAD, but he wants to erase the children, the Straw Hats, Law, everybody who has caused this mess. And Monet is simply like, okay. She calls him Young Master. There's a lot of his henchmen call him the Young Master. So I'm very curious on that, why they call him the Young Master. You guys should remind. I know that I believe it talked about their ages. I know Oda did a SBS question corner with their heights, but you guys should tell me if it's not a spoiler how old Doflamingo is here. And he says, "Die for me and take everyone with you," which is so Joker coded. Like, this is so Joker and Harley Quinn. Like, it's so psychotic. And she just says, okay, no problem. And she's like, you're gonna be the one that's gonna be king of the pirates. I'm really struggling to understand the people that seem to be loyal to Doflamingo. It is literally like ride or die. And I'm just curious if they're genuinely loyal to him because they love him, or if he is controlling them somehow. Like, he is clearly evil and psychotic. So I'm like, why do we have so much support? I mean, evil draws evil, but I don't know. Something about it just smells fishy to me. Why they're so like almost worshipful towards him. It gives me the ick. I don't like it. He does thank Virgo for everything. You see Virgo smiling, and I don't know if he was smiling because Doflamingo thanked him, or if he's smiling because he thinks he's gonna live somehow. We'll have to see, but I feel like it was more a show that they're very, very loyal. So I'm nervous. I was getting ready for Monet to blow up this island, but then Caesar, in one last act of betrayal and idiocy, he stabs the heart that he has, thinking it's Smoker's, and it was Monet's. Law had simply given him Monet's heart back, saying that it was Smoker's. And I love that. I mean, Caesar just betrays anyone and everyone. It was the same act of quite literally backstabbing that caused the rest of the demise, allowed the crew and his enemies to escape. Such a great moment. But after this, Doflamingo realizes that there's something wrong with Monet. And you guys, this is the scary. I think this beats Big Mom. I mean, or at least it's on the same level. Doflamingo is gone, and he says, I'm on my way. And you guys, he looks like a freak. He's so scary. Look at that. The veins are popping out, and he's like shuffling in the air. He looks like a wild animal. I mean, absolutely terrifying. Like, when those forehead veins come out, that's what I'm saying. He's like crazy psychotic. So this will be interesting to see what happens now that he's on the way to Punk Hazard. Everyone makes their escape. Usopp and Nami decide they're going to be the ones to take down baby number 5 and Buffalo carrying Caesar. Law doesn't want to leave it to them, but Luffy says, this is my sniper. If he says he's gonna do it, they're gonna do it. And they have the whole support of the crew. Such a great moment. They did bring them down in a very awesome fashion. And then we end with this kind of mystery guy that says he's in the middle of the ocean. He says, I think I overslept. Which way is Punk Hazard? And he's just a silhouette. I have no idea who this is. I'm hoping I will finish the arc and find out. So that is the massive chunk here. I'm about to live read the rest of this, so stay tuned for these videos. I'm so excited to finish it and see how it all ends. Come and finish Punk Hazard with me. I'm so excited. I have loved this arc so much. It's so reminiscent of Thriller Bark. I feel like there are so many parallels with this arc. I'm so excited to dive in. I'm on chapter 696, Alignment of Interests. This whole cover story series with Caribou has been interesting. I feel like I'm missing something with it, but maybe I will find out as it progresses. He's a piece of garbage, though. I hope that he gets what's coming to him. Here we go. Okay, they're screaming about murder. He's a murderer. It's law. Oh, it's Kinnymon. Oh, he's cracked into pieces. You cracked him to death. Oh my gosh, of course he's alive. I'm so happy he's alive. Where's Momo? Oh, here he is. Oh, he's back in his right form. Oh, he's so cute. Oh my gosh. Law is so funny, dude. He goes, I told you not to peek, didn't I? I was just inside cutting their bodies to pieces. Those heavy drugs they were on, painful long-term rehab is unavoidable. You know that guy with the puffy head? He took all the bad drugs out of our bodies. It was scary at first, but now I feel better. I'm hungry. Oh. Oh, Mocha's still asleep. Bless her. La is so cool. What a cool power, and I love that he can use it for good when he chooses to. Such a refreshing thing to see, a warlord using their devil fruit for good. I know he's still a pirate, but he's not a bad guy, hopefully. But where's the orange lady? We want to say thanks to her. She's gonna help us get home, right? Hello, kids. The Navy's gonna help take care of you now. What? No. What about the robot and the rubber man? What about the swirly man? That's so funny. I mean, to be fair, if I was rescued by a bunch of cool pirates and then the government stepped in and was like, "We're going to help you." I would be the same way. Like, "Nah, pack it up." Oh, Nami says, "I'm leaving them with the Navy. I know I talked a big game about saving them, but I'm sure the parents would prefer not to have pirates involved with their children." That's true. Tashigi, please, please leave the children with me. I have a weakness for powerful stares from I have a weakness for powerful stares from lady sailors. He goes, lady sailors. Oh. Oh my gosh. She goes, they put me at ease. And then Usopp goes, oh yeah, now I remember your mom was in the Navy. Oh, that's so sweet. I love Nami. I forget that her mom was in the Navy. I totally forgot that too, somehow. Oh, she's grown up so much. I'm so proud of her. Sanji is cooking up some amazing food. Oh, Momonosuke, he's so hungry. He says, I don't want any. I'm not hungry. Not in the least. Sanji goes, hey, what do you think you're doing with that dish? His dad's eating. It's alright, Momonosuke. It's fine to eat. Let us be indebted to them for this meal. My life was saved as well on this island. We can trust these people. You have not eaten until today, have you? You've been strong. It must have been hard, but it's all right now. We must have faith that they are also alive and well. Let us choose to live, Momonosuke. Oh, I'm such a sucker for like a really beautiful father son and mom and daughter. Like parental, healthy, and good parental figure and child relationships. It's always endearing to see, you know? Luffy goes, "Whoa, is it tasty enough to cry?" And Sanji goes, "Don't be an idiot. They've clearly been through a lot recently, but what happened to them?" And obviously, it doesn't take a genius to know that. Again, I feel like Sanji is always the one to just be bringing awareness to the emotions of others and what other people have gone through. And I love the fact that he's the chef and that he has this quality to him because I don't know, food is a comfort and it can heal and you know, I don't know. It's just as someone I love to cook and gift food to people who are struggling. If you're having a bad day, there's something about like a good meal that just can wash the stress of the day away. And, I just think it's so fitting. Lagos, we need to leave this place at once, Straw Hat. They will be on our heels soon if we stop to eat. Make sure your people know. Luffy goes, "Oh, yeah? Okay, I'll tell them." And he goes, "It's party time." Law is so stressed out. Nice. So the Navy men are gonna go back to the island because they found out the gas's weakness. And then Caesar's like, "Why is Smoker alive?" Smoker goes, "If you really wanted to silence me, you had plenty of opportunities. What are you using Straw Hat for? What are you starting? Which one of the four emperors do you mean? Using? Who's using whom? Kaido, the king of the beasts. Okay, as long as Shanks isn't the first. My plan is to crush all four emperors." Holy crap! Okay, so maybe it is Kaido then. So I guess maybe Law's plan is if he defeats Doflamingo and takes the SAD out of the game, then Kaido can't recruit and get more Zoan types for his arm. That would make the most sense. The King of the Beasts. That's freaky though. Like he's pretty powerful, right? I mean, obviously, because he's one of the four emperors, but like interesting. And Luffy, I wonder if that's intentional. He says my plan is to crush all four emperors. He's holding up three fingers. Is that intentional or is that Luffy being an idiot? Hmm. I'll have to see. Maybe because he would genuinely crush three of them. I don't want to think about him and Shanks fighting. I don't want to do it. I love them too much. I don't want to think about them fighting. All right. Next chapter. All right. We are finishing Punk Hazard here. We are on chapter 697 called A Deal. Law says you're going to take down all four emperors. Our interests might seem to be aligned here, but you're clearly taking this as a joke. These are the emperors of the sea, massively powerful figures who engaged in constant territorial clashes with the great Whitebeard. And Kaido, king of the beasts, is often called the most powerful creature in the world. Our alliance only lasts until we bring down Kaido. The chance of success is about, I'd say, 30%. And Luffy goes, I see, I'm in. I love that the Navy and the pirates were able to get along enough to eat before they once again return to being enemies. Anyone can get along over a good meal, in my opinion. Nami says, they said they'll ask Vegapunk about developing a cure for the candy. That's good. So Vegapunk, I wonder where Vegapunk is. Like, is he? I mean, I'm sure he's still working with the government, but maybe he just isn't allowed on like an island of his own anymore if he's under closer supervision. Oh, the kids say Pirates are all dirty and smelly and gross, but us, on the other hand, if you can't even let us say our goodbyes and thanks, then the Navy's worse. Tashigi goes, wait, wait, I'm sorry, children. But Tashigi, if we don't stop talking mess about them, then we can't help but admit that we love these lawless vagabonds, even though they're pirates. Smoker's so over it. We'll be pirates just like you. And the Navy guys go, don't you dare. Oh god, no, no, you guys, no, no, he's so scary. Ugh. Like, he pops up on the screen and I get like squeamish. Like, he's so, oh, looks like you've got the devil's own luck, kids. I didn't expect my sky path would get cut short. Oh, I don't want to click to the next page. Like, what is he gonna do? Oh my gosh, it's baby number 5 and Buffalo's heads. Young master, it's true, damn it. Law really did betray us. Forgive me. I wish I could die to repay my failure. You needed me, and I couldn't live up to your desire. Well, here's a surprise. The boss himself in the flesh. Is that you, Law? For the amount of time it's been, you seem awfully resistant to a proper reunion. If you're looking for Caesar, he's with me. Where are Baby and Buffalo's bodies? I couldn't say, and no pointless questions. Let's make a deal. Oh, he's laughing again. Cool your jets, Law. You're a kid playing in grown-up business. Where are you now? You don't want to make me angry. Make you angry. I know who your most precious trading partner is. Kaido, king of the beasts, one of the 4 emperors. If there's anyone to keep from getting angry, it's him. Ooh, that hit a nerve. What happens if he finds out you can no longer produce Smile? He's not the kind of man you can reason with. The ensuing fray would be a bloody one indeed. He'll wipe you off the map. All right, Law, this ain't funny. What'll it take to get Caesar back? What are your terms? Oh, Law he is playing a dangerous game right now. Quit the 7 warlords. The nerve of that kid will be forced to leave Dressrosa. Abandon the status you've built over the last decade and go back to being a simple pirate. That's it. But once that happens, the admirals at naval headquarters won't turn a blind eye to you any longer. Your time limit is tomorrow morning's paper. If the front page screams, Doflamingo leaves 7 warlords bright and loud, then you will hear from me again. If there's no article, the deal's off. So long. And he just hung up on him. Oh my, oh my gosh. The panel just says, snap. Oh my gosh. And that's the end of the chapter. Ooh. Oh, you guys, this is good, but terrifying. Oh, I'm so freaked out. Okay, 698. Enter Doflamingo. I'm so freaked out. Okay, so the Navy and the pirates have returned so that Brownbeard can get his men back because all of the men impacted by the gas are just in a state of paralysis, and they found baby number 5 and Buffalo's bodies. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, it's him. Oh no. Are those flying heads? No way. No. Oh no, Smoker's here. Dude. Oh, it's Doflamingo. No. Oh, they're cooked. They're cooked. Why is he here? Snap. Dude, like everyone just dropped to the ground. What, snap? What is that? What, did he break their necks? Oh, it was hockey. That was hockey of the Supreme King. Oh, of course he has it too. Oh. Law, I can understand, but Straw Hat's just a regular old pirate. So he just clawed through the air and it literally like sliced. What is his devil fruit? Because I was saying that it was the control fruit, but it just doesn't. I'm like, can he manipulate atoms? Like, is that it? Which direction did those damn kids go? Oh, he's pissed. Smoker goes, I wouldn't know, Joker. I carelessly let them slip away. I'll have to do a lot to answer for to Commander Virgo after this one. Oh no. Oh no. No, no, no. No. No, you guys. I want Smoker to be okay. Nami, where are we heading again? A place called Dressrosa. Kinemon goes, Dressrosa. Very concerned. Luffy goes, you know about it? Oh, that is where I wish to go. Do you have business there as well? Yeah, I think so. Who were you just talking to, Traffy? He goes, Doflamingo. Usopp's freaking out. So they're explaining the plan of the Alliance to the rest of the crew. A word to the wise. Luffy's definition of an alliance is probably a bit different from yours. Watch out. Sanji says that to Law. I guess that explains why Luffy was going on about abduction. It didn't seem like his style. I was afraid you wanted me to cook up this weird looking sheep. But even for a world class chef, there's only so much I can do. So they have Caesar. God, he's so annoying. Okay, so he's basically just telling everybody else that Doflamingo's largest client at the moment is Kaido, king of the beasts. Okay, so the Kinemon and Momonosuke know about Kaido. So they're from Wano. Has it been said? Is Kaido then in Wano? Or at least, like, yeah, because Big Mom's island is Whole Cake. So did Kaido. I wonder if he is currently at Wano. I don't know. Oh, what we're trying to do is to take down Kaido. That means the key to victory will be how much we can minimize his strength. What Kaido's buying from Joker in great quantities is fruit, man-made Zoan type devil fruit called Smile. There are inherent risks in the man-made fruit, but as of this moment, Kaido has at least 500 people in his crew with devil fruit powers. That's crazy. But now that fruit's been taken out of the equation. Joker's out of the picture now, so we move on to the next step. There's a Smile production factory in Dressrosa somewhere. So we find it and destroy it? Exactly, but the enemy's well connected. We can't be sloppy. And this is the place you want to go to, Keen. Indeed, one of my people is being held there. Interesting. Law seems too confident that Doflamingo is just gonna roll over and be out of the equation. Like, he must be counting that Kaido is that scary and that much of a threat. Like, it's Doflamingo, dude. This dude's not the type of person that's gonna be swindled into giving up everything. Like, crazy. Okay, oh god, okay, we're back. Stop it, you're gonna kill Smokey, and if we lose him, who's gonna lead our rabble rousing unit? Oh, don't worry, I'll be killing all of you. There's no telling who might have learned what since I can't read minds. Oh no! Same goes for Law and Straw Hat. I'll find them all before the day's through. Dude, Smoker looks rough. Oops. Pardon me, buddy. Would you mind getting off of him? It's Aokiji! Wow, I have never in my life been more happy to see Aokiji. Truly. He's an old friend. Oh my word. This story is nuts. It's so nuts. Oh, you guys, we are gearing up for some pain. You guys were not kidding. You guys, I'm so bummed. I recorded my live reaction to the last chapter of Punk Hazard, and then I did not realize that my mic had died. So there's no audio. I'm so sorry. So we're just gonna recap this last chapter, and I'll kind of give my final thoughts on Punk Hazard as a whole. It was a great last chapter. Doflamingo decided that he did not want to fight Kuzan. Understandably, he went on his way, and Kuzan lets, Smoker and the Navy know not to let anybody know that they saw him there. And he said that he never saw the world government as like the end all be all. And he said that some things you can't truly see and realize until you're independent. I love this from Kuzan. I always figured that if anybody could kind of change things, or I don't know, step away from the world government to do something, it would be Kuzan. And he also said too that you don't need to be in the Navy or part of the government to do things and achieve things and change things. So I'm really excited for the future of what his character holds. He also tells Smoker and the Navy to keep a very close eye on Doflamingo because it could quite literally undo all the gears that have been put in place, and it could easily be the greatest challenge that Akainu's new Navy headquarters will have ever dealt with. So super crazy. This is not just a massive upset for the pirate world and just what Law and the Straw Hats are doing. This is going to affect everything. I'm just so excited to get to Dressrosa. And we go back to the boat, and there's a really obnoxious exchange. This genuinely, I feel like for the most part, I'm able to roll my eyes at these the pervert gag, and this time I really hate Punk Hazard. Listen. I know Thriller Bark was bad. I know that Fishman Island was annoying. I know, but like even then, I was able to like roll my eyes. Punk Hazard is obnoxious. Like I love Punk Hazard, but in terms of the gag, Punk Hazard has been the worst for me. I don't like how Sanji was reacting when he was in Nami's body. I'm able to roll my eyes at that, but I think it's the fact that now like the samurai is in on it, Sanji's in on it, Brooke is in on it. I mean, it's just like over the top and annoying. So I'm just gonna leave that section there and just go on from it. I didn't find it funny. Now it was on my nerves through this section. But the shocking big reveal at the end of this is that Doflamingo does, in fact, quit the warlords. And this is shocking to me. I did not think that he was going to do it. The crew is very celebratory, but again, I'm wondering where the caution is because clearly, like, he's not gonna let this go. He's a villain. This dude is used to control and manipulation. I don't know what his devil fruit is. I don't know what it is because I'm like, I know that he, like, forced. There's been several instances where he's literally been able to control people's movements against their will. He did it at the big meeting with the five elders and the warlords in Jaya, and then he did it with Bellamy. But then also he can slice, he can cut through the air, and then he can like shuffle walk in the air. So I don't know what his devil fruit is. I am thinking as hard as I can. It is so I'm so confused, but I'm thinking on it. Like I think about it all the time. So he quit warlords, and I guess he's a king, like he's part of the royal family, which again proves my theory that this dude was like born into power and privilege and fame. So we will really have to see, but it also is in the papers that the Straw Hats and Law's Pirates, the Heart Pirates, have formed an alliance, as well as Kid Hawkins and the other guy. They have formed an alliance. So lots of pieces being put in place here for this wrap up at the end of the arc. As usual, there is usually quite a bit of info dumping at the end of these arcs, which I love. Lots of pieces. So Kuzan is in the behind the scenes doing things. We've got Doflamingo who has quit allegedly. We'll see what his plan is. Alliances are forming. I'm very excited. I thought the next like huge showdown was going to be with Big Mom, but it might be with Kaido unless we could be using the building blocks now to get to Kaido later. We could deal with Big Mom first. I have no idea. We are on Luffy's schedule and not on Law's schedule, so we'll have to see. But I'm excited. Dressrosa, here we come. I'm going to live read the first couple chapters of Dressrosa. I know that these arcs get longer. As long as you guys don't mind a slower pace, I like to live read, but I also like to read in sections. I love having you guys along with me. You guys obviously are what has made this journey so amazing and fun. Let me know what your preference is for this arc, but I will try to live read as much as I can. Again, as long as you don't mind kind of one chapter at a time, as it takes me a minute to edit. So, love you guys, and I will see you in the next update.